Hey Internet, cool, so I thought I'd put up a little post about how to use a Guitar Hero controller as a MIDI controller. I've been doing this for like a year or so, and I'm sure there'd be heaps of people out there doing it because it's such an obvious thing to do. So basically the way I tackled it is I used a program called Max MSP and wrote a little patch that turns the game data into MIDI notes, and then with the MIDI notes you can do whatever you want. So I've been using it to trigger samples and things like that, and loops in Ableton. Another program out there which I'm pretty sure is free called Live Sticks, and that's and if you don't want to sort of deal with the learning curve of Max MSP, that might be a really good option. Another thing that you need will be a MIDI rerouter. So there are two that I can think of. I think they're both free. One's called LoopB. Basically that just gives you a virtual MIDI port, and so I send the MIDI data out of Max through LoopB, and then I get into Ableton, and I just select MIDI in from LoopB, and there's my MIDI coming from my Guitar Hero controller. The coolest thing, you'd think, with this thing, the whammy bar signal doesn't get into the computer, and basically the system underneath this is a PlayStation 2 guitar, wired. I reckon wired's the way to go. I've had some problems with wireless with latency and dropouts and things like that. Now I got a PlayStation 2 USB adapter, it cost me about $20. Does the job, but there are better things to do. So, one other thing you can do is get yourself one of these. Now this is the 360 guitar, and it has some big pluses. Number one, it's USB. You can get the driver off the net. Bonuses, whammy bar works. Awesome. What else? Had other things. It's got a directional pad, which PlayStation 1s don't have, which is handy. And the tilt sensor's different. So in the PlayStation, it's just on and off, bang, bang, bang. This has two tilt sensors. I can't figure out the other axis, but it's a fully sweepable tilt sensor that goes from there to there. So that could be really, really useful. But yeah, so if you do want to do a MIDI controller, Guitar Hero controller, MIDI controller, whatever, get one of these guitars. Here's my Guitar Hero controller. Basically, the problem that I hit is this only really has 7 buttons. Well, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 buttons, and a tilt sensor, which is actually probably enough, but I wanted more buttons. This is my way around it, and actually some other people have come up with another way, which might actually be better, but I'll talk about that a bit later, and I'll show you how I've done this. So basically what I did, Guitar Hero controller, these 7 buttons, from here to here, I made them C to B. And so there's 7 buttons, and then I use the pick selector here as an octave selector, so pull the pick up and that's an octave down. In the middle it's normal, and up it's an octave up. And yeah, so basically when you do that, you get 3 octaves of C major. And you also get a tilt sensor, which gives you high C. So here we are in Max MSP, and so if you haven't seen this program before, it can look a bit daunting, but basically all I did was go through all the tutorials until I knew everything I needed to know to do this, and I didn't at all have to go through all of them, you know, just got through the ones that dealt with MIDI, and that gives you everything you need to know. The tutorials are really, really good. So basically this is where my guitar comes in, and it comes out as data, it just comes out as numbers, and then you can do whatever you want with the numbers. So basically what I've got it doing is coming in here, this is where all the notes happen, then it pops out here. And, okay, so from there you can select your output, and so here I'll select Loop B, and now my MIDI is going through Loop B, and you can see the notes pop up here. And then if we go into Ableton, I just go into Ableton here and say set up an instrument, and actually you can see up here that we're getting MIDI information in. And if you go into set up an instrument or something, or whatever you want, and select MIDI in, there it is, Loop B, and there it is, playing music. And actually, as you can hear, if I can get my finger in here, latency is pretty good. Really good actually. Best I've had it maybe. Really playable. Yeah, so that's, you can use it to play music if you want. Basically what I do is use it to trigger samples. And even if you do go wireless, latency isn't as much of a problem if you're just triggering samples. So I've got my start and select buttons, go up and down, so I can navigate like that. And then I've got these two buttons here I use as start and stop. And yeah, basically hooking it up to anything is really easy. So if you just click, I don't know, for example, let me turn this off. If you just click MIDI, this is in Ableton, you probably already know this. I mean, if you want to turn a guitar into a MIDI controller, you probably know how to do this anyway. But, you know, if you don't. So to hook a MIDI note up to my guitar, I just click the MIDI button, click whatever I want to hook it up to, and then set it like this. There it is. And now we turn this off. And so if we go in here, what I did just then was take this beat repeat, and I attached the repeat button to my G note. And now if we play this, and we trigger it, yeah, so pretty handy. There's another guy who's done a really similar thing, actually a bit better, and he spawned a band called the Guitar Zeros. They came across this really interesting thing, which was they set up a scale, which means using these 4 buttons, it covers like 2.5 octaves or something. Awesome. And so I'm going to combine those 2 patches, and so I'm going to use it for MIDI, but we'll have 2.5 octaves under 4 fingers, then a directional pad and 2 other buttons, and you can use the pick for whatever you want, blah 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 blah. So you'll be able to play notes and trigger samples at the same time. You should be able to get, 40 buttons out of things, something like that, maybe not 30 buttons. And 2 axes of, analog whatever, and a whammy bar, a lot of potential. The scale that they've come up with is a binary scale, and just using these 4 buttons, they gave them numbers, 1, 3, 5, and 7, I think that's right. Then you just add them up to 15, so, it's got an open string as well, and actually, another difference is, the way I did it is you press a button, sends a big MIDI signal. They've set it up more like the game, so you can use the pick, which is cool, makes it a lot more playable. So 1, or open, open 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 notes, 2 octaves, and an open string, bit over 2 octaves. Really cool. They've set it up to a Phrygian scale. A change of scale might be cool. Locrian might be handy, because then you're starting on the 7th degree of the scale, which means the first fret is 1. So then you'd end up with C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Might make it easy to figure out notes, might not, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, so that's the other thing that they've done. And also, the pick they do multiple things with. So, for example, down pick is short, while an up pick is long. Now they've done something else as well, which is really cool. So now this is a sort of a similar sound, but what they've done is the pick, down is normal, up is upper fifth. That's pretty cool, because you can figure out some, I don't know, it's just sort of a natural playable thing. Easy to use. So yeah, really cool. Guitar Zeros, check them out on the net. They've got all their software up there. If you're interested in the patch that I'm using, check out my website, it's lc.com.au, and get in contact with me and I'll send it to you, and you can play around with it and send it back to me, and then I'll use all the things that you did on it. As another side note, I have also been trying this with the Guitar Hero drums. Now, apart from the Guitar Hero drums being pretty crappy quality, a hurdle that I've hit is latency, and I think that's because of the wireless whole thing. It is really easy to hook up to your computer, and the notes that it pumps out are the same as the notes for a PlayStation 2 guitar. At the moment I'm using the PlayStation 2 drums. So you can actually use the same patch that I use for my MIDI guitar for the drums. If you want to do that, give me a buzz and I'll send you the patch, because I'd like to know if you can get it playable. I haven't quite been able to get it playable yet. And yeah.